What up, everybody? This is Rama Screen, and it's time for another celeb interview segment. And there's this really cool action new film that I watched recently called The Second, which will be available on demand and on digital starting September 1st. And I'm here to talk with the director of that film, Brian Skiba. Brian, how are you doing?
Great, man. How are you?
Good, good, good. Man, I really enjoy this awesome action film, man. Okay, The Second starring Ryan Phillippe and Casper Van Dien in a story that's kind of like Die Hard set in the dormitory campus. Is that a fair way to describe the plot?
Yeah, no, that's totally a fair way to describe it. It wasn't like we were trying to pay homage to Die Hard, but it was definitely that kind of vein. So
All right, all right. So, what are some of the challenges of working within such logistics?
I mean, the biggest challenge for this film was we filmed it in a very short amount of time, and
Mm.
so we just had we had 12 hours a day, and we shot 14. So it was it's always challenging when you're a director and producers hand you a puzzle and the pieces don't all fit, and you have to go, okay, how am I going to make this work? How am I going to make that work? And so that's what makes films like these challenging is really you're limited. It's an indie film, so we didn't have some studio just throwing money at us. It was like, you have this much, go. And so that's what makes these films a little challenging for sure. So.
Now, you've worked with Casper Van Dien before. Of course, he's a physical action man, so that kind of helps. Was he your first choice to play the villain in this movie?
Yeah, actually, no, I love Casper. He's a great actor, and he and I have been friends for a while now. And when they sent me the script, because I came in a little bit late, Ryan had already attached himself to the script, producers already had it, everybody was on board, and they brought me in and said, hey, we'd like you to direct the thing. And after I read it, I was like, man, I'd love to get Casper to play a villain. I've not really seen him do that, and this villain is definitely a very complex kind of guy. So so I thought it'd be a very cool role for him. And initially in the first draft, he died, and
Wow.
I changed this one to I won't give it away, but he definitely is not dead. So, but yeah, I enjoyed having him as a villain. I thought it was a lot of fun. So.
Can you talk a bit about staging or choreographing the action sequences in this movie? What were the things that you were experimenting with? Because the impression I got when I was watching it was this movie is very retro, old school hand-to-hand combat and gunfights. Can you talk a bit about that process?
Yeah, so I definitely wanted to give it that feel. I felt like if we were going to go with kind of a Die Hard-esque story, then I wanted that look to represent itself on the screen as well. I wanted as much practical stuff as we could do and afford to do. We did, and so it was all practicals. We rehearsed the fights for 2 weeks. We had Ryan in the gym. We had Casper in the gym. We had everybody in the gym just practicing the fights. Jack Griffo, another great actor, and then when we got to the set, we were prepped, and so I had a great choreographer, Christopher Troy. He's a stunt man by trade, but he's definitely getting into the fight scene, and I think he's an up and coming fight choreographer. We had all sorts of. I had 3 different stunt coordinators on the show, and all of them came out to support me, and it was a real treat to have these guys, that come out and say, hey, we're just going to do cool stuff because we want to support you. We like your vision. We like, so I was very grateful for all these guys that came out and really did some cool, practical things that you can't really ever get in indie films of this level, and so, yeah, we practiced, we rehearsed, and we wanted a look that was very practical. The gunfire is all real, except for a couple of spots where we had a camera literally in front of the gun. You can't do that. But, it was as much practical as I could get away with. I had one of the best special effects guy. He does American Horror Story, and he was on break, and he was
Wow.
like, hey, I'm gonna come out and work your show because he's a buddy. And, so it was a cool show in that a bunch of us just were friends. We all worked bigger stuff. We all have kind of like day jobs. I direct TV movies. That's my day job. And it was like, it was like we all came together on this thing and said, hey, you're not making a lot. I'm not making a lot. let's just do something really cool and fun, and gave it this feel. So we definitely wanted that kind of older, homage kind of feel to, 90s action films. So.
And it works, man. I enjoyed it very much. So, both Ryan and Casper are, again, as I said earlier, both are physical action people. Ryan he's done the Shooter series. So, as far as the action goes, did Ryan and Casper do their own stunts? In other words, how far did you allow them to go and do their own thing? And at what point did you step in and say, no, this next sequence or this next scene needs to be done by a stunt double?
It's always a tricky kind of road to walk with actors and stunts, because a lot of actors that, especially in this day and age, they are very physical guys. Ryan's a very physical guy. Casper is very fit and physical, and they all, they absolutely wanted to do as much of their work as they could, and so it was kind of a fine line. And what we ended up really doing is we would shoot both the actor and the stunt double, the fight scenes, and we'd shoot the whole fight scene. And so the actor knew the fight scene and the stunt double knew the fight scene. We had them both in the same clothes, and we would just shoot, and shoot both guys through the fight, and that really helped us in the edit because it allowed us to have a lot of choices. And so no, I mean, definitely have to give props to Ryan and Casper, because they there was a couple of nights there where we're going on the 12th hour and there was still a fight to shoot and we're exhausted. They've already done 2 fights that day, and it was like, come on, we just got to do it. And they toughed it out, man.
Wow.
And it's take after take. You're watching these fights and you don't realize these guys did this fight probably 15, 20 times, within an hour and a half period, so it's a grinding physical workout for these guys. And no, they stuck it out. I mean, they're hardcore dudes. So
Nice. So, as I'm winding down to my final questions here, so having gone through the whole experience of making this movie, I was wondering if you can share some wisdom. What is your advice to aspiring filmmakers out there that want to make their own action movie?
I mean, just don't give up. Don't, I think the biggest thing for especially in the action genre, it's a very clicky genre. It's a very it's a tough genre to get into, because there's definitely a kind of a standard you've got to meet. And when it comes to how the things look, how the fights are, choreographed, those type of things. And if you don't meet that standard, it typically doesn't do well. So it is a tough genre to get into. But I think the biggest thing for aspiring directors, actors, everything is it's don't give up. Just follow your dream. And you know what, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to screw up. Your first film may not be your best film. And not all of us are Tarantino or Rodriguez. We're learning, and we're constantly learning. And and it may take you 10 films to become the best filmmaker. But if you give up on film 1, how would you ever know? And that's really the best advice I can give. So.
That's excellent. Last question. What's next on your horizon? What are some of the upcoming projects that we can anticipate from you?
I've got a couple of thrillers that I directed this fall. They'll be on television. So I've got Deadly Excursion 2, which is I'll be on Lifetime October 1st. And then I've got a couple of Christmas movies that I directed. Like I said, my day job is TV movies. So this is it was awesome to be able to come out and do an action indie film. So but my day job, I've got movies all over the place, all over television this fall. And then as far as more indie films go, I've got a couple lined up, another one with Casper that we're just waiting for this coronavirus to kind of clear up before we start. But it's all approved, ready to go. And that one we'll film in Florida. We were supposed to film this summer, but obviously, we weren't able to. So, but that one's ready to go. And that's another awesome action film. So it'll be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, everybody, go watch The Second on digital everywhere starting September 1st. Brian, thank you so much for talking with me, and congratulations on your film.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.